I didn't raise my voice when my father told me to get out. It was almost disappointing to him, I think. He had built himself into a storm, pacing between the stove and the dining table, waiting for resistance. Waiting for something to push against. "You're 32, he said. "No stable job, no office, no title anyone understands. You sit with a laptop all day, you call that a career?" My mother stood near the sink, drying plates that were already dry. "You've embarrassed us enough," he continued. "If you want to live like this, go live in the streets, at least then it would make sense." I remember noticing the clock on the wall, 8:17 p.m. The second hand kept moving, indifferent. I had imagined this confrontation many times over the years. In those private versions, I would calmly explain everything: the contracts, the acquisitions, the revenue reports, the team of 60, 2 people who answered to me across 3 countries. I would show him numbers, wire transfers, headlines. But when the moment arrived, none of that felt important. Because this wasn't about money. It was about him needing to understand something he didn't build. I picked up my bag from the hallway bench. I had packed it weeks ago without admitting to myself why. "You're not even going to argue?" he asked. I looked at him. He looked smaller than his anger. "I don't need to," I said. The smile I gave wasn't triumph, it was protection. If I opened my mouth further, I might have said something cruel, and cruelty would have tied me to that kitchen forever. I left. For 3 weeks, I did not call. I rented a quiet apartment near the marina downtown, nothing extravagant, just efficient and anonymous. I worked from a glass-walled office 2 floors below it, inside a building that bore my company's name in brushed steel letters. I had founded the firm 8 years earlier. Data infrastructure, scalable analytics. Boring to explain at family gatherings, extremely valuable to the right clients. Last year we cleared in $15 million in personal income after restructuring and equity consolidation. My parents thought I was unemployed. Part of that was my fault. I had stopped trying to explain. Every conversation with my father ended the same way. "Is it real?" he'd ask. "Is it stable? Or is this some internet thing that disappears tomorrow?" He grew up believing stability meant a physical office, a time card, a pension. I built something that didn't look like his version of work. That difference hardened into judgment. Still, I kept hoping one day he would ask with curiosity instead of suspicion. He never did. The shift came quietly, the way most real shifts do. A multinational logistics firm acquired a minority stake in my company. It wasn't secret, but it wasn't flashy either, until the regional business news picked it up. The signing ceremony was held at a hotel ballroom downtown. Cameras, press, legal teams. It was procedural and restrained. I wore a navy suit I'd bought years ago for investor meetings. I spoke for 7 minutes about data ethics and expansion strategy. I avoided personal remarks. The article went live that evening. My name in bold, my company's valuation printed plainly. A photograph of me shaking hands with the CEO of a firm my father recognized immediately. I know he recognized it because he called the next morning. His voice was different. Not angry. Not loud. "Careful. I saw something," he said.
"Yes."
There was a pause long enough to feel like gravity. "You didn't tell us that?" "I tried," I said gently. "It just didn't look the way you expected." Silence again. This one heavier. My mother got on the line next. She didn't speak at first. I could hear her breathing. "Is it true?" she asked.
"Yes."
"Long enough." Cool. We met 3 days later at a cafe halfway between their house and my office. Neutral ground. My father arrived early. He stood when I approached, which he hadn't done since I was a teenager. Up close, I could see the confusion in him. The recalculating. "You should have said something," he said. "I did." He flinched, not visibly to a stranger, but I know him. He had always equated authority with certainty. Now certainty had moved away from him. "I thought you were drifting," he said finally. "I thought you were avoiding responsibility." "I was building something," I replied. "You just couldn't see it." That was the moment control shifted. Not because I embarrassed him. Not because I listed numbers. But because there were now contracts, witnesses, institutions validating what he had dismissed. Authority had stepped in, not as revenge, but as documentation. My mother reached across the table and touched my sleeve. "We were worried," she said. I know, it was true. Their criticism came wrapped in fear, but fear can still bruise. My father cleared his throat. "You don't have to stay away," he said. It wasn't an apology, it was an opening. "I won't," I said. "But I won't accept being called useless again either." He nodded once. That was as close as we were going to get. There was no dramatic reconciliation, no tears in the cafe, no public declarations of pride. Instead, there was an awkward recalibration. He asked practical questions about the business. Real ones. I answered without over-explaining. When the bill arrived, he reached for it out of habit. I let him. Power doesn't need to announce itself in small gestures. In the weeks that followed, relatives who had once asked when I would settle down began forwarding me articles about my company. My father mentioned my name differently in conversations, I'm told, with less warning, more certainty. But something inside me had shifted too. For years, I believed that once he understood, I would feel whole. I didn't. Understanding doesn't erase memory, it just reframes it. The night he told me to live in the streets still exists. His voice still echoes in certain quiet moments. Success didn't cancel that. What it did give me was clarity. I no longer need him to approve of what I build. When I visit their house now, I park in the same driveway. I sit at the same kitchen table. The clock still ticks on the wall. But I don't shrink there anymore. 3 weeks after being thrown out, I walked back in through the front door, not to reclaim territory, not to prove a point, but to show myself something simple. Dignity does not require volume. It requires steadiness. My father met me in the hallway that day. He stepped aside so I could enter first, a small gesture, not dramatic, not cinematic, just unmistakable, and for now, that's enough.